Cryptocurrencies are back on the rise, enthusiasm is up, and Bitcoin recently crossed, once again, the $50,000 barrier. What does this mean? I'm going to share 3 key takeaways about $50,000 Bitcoin from my observations over the last few months. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist. We're the channel and the company that helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. And I want to share with you a couple of my observations now that Bitcoin is past the $50,000 mark. The first observation that I have made, that I've been talking about for years, but I think is worth repeating, is that if you missed the chance to leave your country when Bitcoin was $30,000, or when other cryptos were down for the count, down from all-time highs that we saw earlier in 2021, if you missed that chance, you left a lot of money on the table from a tax perspective. Now, here at Nomad Capitalist, we are the goody two-shoes of the offshore world. We are not using our crypto to hide our gains. We are transparent. We are, if we don't like the tax system, we're exiting the tax system. We're taking our money with us, and we're going to enjoy the capital gains, enjoy the income all the way up in somewhere that treats us best. And so let's say you had Bitcoin at $60,000. Maybe you were buying all the way up. You were dollar cost averaging in. Then it goes down to $30,000, $29,000. That was an excellent opportunity for you to say, I'm going to leave my country, whether I'm moving to Puerto Rico, whether I'm expatriating, whether I'm simply, if I'm not an American, just moving to another country, and potentially have an exit tax in many countries. What does that mean? It means they're going to take my current unrealized capital gains. They're going to act under different conditions in different countries, but oftentimes it is treated as income tax, or you get a certain discount if you held it for a long enough period of time, or it's just whatever you would have owed if you had left at that time anyway. They're going to take a one-time bite and then say, see you later. Again, if you're an American, that could be moving to Puerto Rico. It could be renouncing your citizenship. If you're not an American, it could just mean moving somewhere that treats you a lot better, keeping your passport in hand. What their process is there is, hey, you earned this money in our country, and so before you go, we want our bite of the apple. Some countries have more pleasant terms than others. Some countries let you come back and undo it if you want to, in case crypto, falls apart in the future and you want that out. So it's hard to talk about every possible country. But the deal is when the chips are down, that's the time you want to get out, because the delta between $30,000 and $50,000 Bitcoin, let's say you have 100 Bitcoin, just to make things simple. You have $3 million versus $5 million. Let's say that's all, of course, capital gains in there. If you've got a 20% capital gains tax rate, just for illustration, that's an extra $400,000 in tax. Over waiting a month or two, you could have been out of the system, and that could have been 0% or 5% or whatever tax rate that you chose by going where you're treated best. But instead, now that's extra unrealized capital gains that you have accumulated. So what I've been telling people for years, and I first said this at the beginning of 2018 when you saw one of the earlier crypto crashes, I said, now's a time to dust yourself off. If you believe in the future of crypto, find where you're going to go and get out now. A lot of people had losses at that time. Now, they wouldn't have losses now, but they could have gotten out with a capital loss situation. They could have gone somewhere else, and they would have been pretty much untouchable in the sense that, hey, you get out when the chips are down, you're clean, and then you enjoy everything all the way up. So you missed your chance if you're still sitting in your home country, if you're still sitting in a high tax country, to get out cleanly. The second thing is, as crypto prices go up and as the crypto market moves forward, there is a greater need for insurance. Now you have more wealth to do this with, right? So if you use my previous example, if you had $3 million fiat worth of Bitcoin, now you have $5 million. My suggestion is always to take a little bit off the table. Go and get yourself the proper insurance. What is that? Well, not just if you're an American, but no matter who you are. If you're in crypto, you want to have some kind of second passport. Now, if you don't have a lot of money, that could be a residence that leads to a citizenship, could be a paper residence. Maybe you have a claim to citizenship by descent. That's not going to really cost you very much. Maybe you can go and you can get citizenship through your marriage. There's many different ways you can do this, or you can do citizenship by investment. You can do a golden visa. There's many different ways to get that passport. I generally, if I'm in crypto, fast-paced world, I want a fast-paced passport. Something I can get in 6, 12, 18 months, maybe 2 years maximum, because the space is moving so quickly. You don't know what tax is going to come out next. You don't know what regulation is going to come out next. On top of that, you're living in the pandemic times when governments, especially Western governments, are strapped for cash. They're coming up with ideas for new wealth taxes. They want to raise your income taxes. They want to raise capital gain taxes. I've had so many people from just Germany, for an example. They have, for long-term holders, not the worst tax policies. But people from Germany are calling me and saying, I think it's going to change. People are going to vote in a new government potentially. The government's going to change, and they're going to undo anything that we have that's good. I'm getting that call from people not just in Germany, but other places around the world. And then, of course, there's just, if you're in crypto, there's just the general freedom where a lot of countries in the Western world have really cracked down on freedom lately. And so you want a plan B. You want an escape hatch. When times get tough, you don't want to just be stuck with your passport that they could take away, they could cancel, they can impose all kinds of regulations, they can impose new taxes on you no matter where you live. If you're an American, you already have that. So it's already difficult to reduce taxes on your Bitcoin. It's possible, but you have fewer options. Very possible. So get a second passport. And what people will tell me is, Andrew, I'm going to wait for the prices of second passports to go down, because here's what I see, because I'm in this space. When prices go down to $30,000, people panic and they want to put everything on hold. Or they at least want to put some stuff on hold at the 7 to 8 figure level. Maybe they're pushing off the more expensive second passport. They're just exiting the country for tax purposes, getting their new tax home, getting that stuff set up. They'll get the insurance later. When things go up, suddenly it's like, well, maybe I'll wait till it goes to 7 million, then I'll do it because I want to use, cheaper Bitcoins or buy dollars with cheaper Bitcoins. Here's the thing, the price can always go down. But as you see more adoption, as the market continues to grow, as governments become increasingly more desperate, what are you seeing? You're seeing in the US, you're seeing they want to spy on your bank account now. All kinds of backdoors into your privacy. They want to monitor your transactions. You're seeing more reporting requirements for crypto around the world. You're seeing more cooperation. Some of the same stuff you saw in the international banking world, now you're seeing in the crypto world. And so I don't want to deal with that. I want to go where I'm treated best. I'm not a guy personally. When I lived in the United States and when I was a US citizen, I dutifully filed my taxes every year. Now, fortunately, I was able to use the strategies we talk about, and I paid either very little or even zero in some years. And I did everything legally, and I suggest you do the same. But the reason that you might want to get out is because you can just have the peace of mind of growing your wealth without the restrictions that you have wherever it is that you live. And the benefit of the insurance policy of second passport, I would also add a second residence and potentially a second home. Now, I would start with the passport. If you have the money, get the residence permit and then get the home to live there, so you've got a place where you can physically go, either now or in the future if things get worse. That's powerful. I'm not going to wait for the prices to go down further. I'm going to take some of my gains off the table. I understand the exuberance, but I'm going to allow myself to get my insurance in place, because what I see far too often is someone who didn't get their insurance in place, someone who didn't have their plan in place, they watch it go from 3 million to 5 million to 10 million. I've got a guy right now, he invested like $1 million. Now he's got something like $200 million in crypto. And so where he lives, he doesn't have as many options. Now, he happens to think it's going to go up to 400, 500 million, so he's still got a lot of potential. But he's also wasted a lot of potential, okay, by not getting insurance in place. So for a guy like that, not having the passport, the residences, all that stuff, it would have been so cheap in comparison to what it's now going to cost him to get out. And so I think that, getting your insurance plan, getting your offshore plan going is a good thing to take a little bit of money off the table and put into. What I also think is that, number 3, some people are going to watch Nomad Capitalist, and perhaps at $30,000 Bitcoin, they're like, oh my God, I got to get out, I got to get ready, because they just feel badly. Now again, the exuberance is kicking in, and they're like, you know what? I'm doing pretty well in these United States. I'm doing pretty well in Australia, locked inside my house, unable to go to the grocery store. What's the point of all this? And I think that, one thing that's helped me be successful in business over the years, not just in this business, but in numerous other businesses before, is a certain amount of fear, a certain amount of never taking myself too seriously, never thinking, wow, I've really hit the big time now. And that's allowed me to, even though, let's say last month, for example, that was the largest month in the history of our company. That's what happened just last month. Within 2 days into this month, it's like, all right, great, what are we doing this month? What's next on the agenda? I'm always looking at what's next. I'm always looking at, what's the next threat? And I think that one thing I see from some people is, there's too much exuberance where it's like, it can never fall down. No one's ever going to get me. I'll never have to pay the tax. I'll take out a loan. They'll never tax my unrealized capital gains. I read the tax journals, I read policy papers, I read stuff that Oxfam and the OECD and all these other groups are putting out. They want to come for everything you got, man. They're coming for crypto, easy target. The average person, yeah, those people with the crypto, isn't that money laundering? Uh, they will be happy to vote in higher taxes on you, especially in countries like the United States, where it's all about the rich now. And any other country that's proposing wealth tax, UK, New Zealand, it's all about going after the rich. And so they'll be happy to tax someone who's not them, including you, to pay for new stuff. And you have no idea some of the taxes these people are dreaming up. And so I think that anyone who's in crypto, and I've said this for years, needs to at least have a plan B, passport, second residence, and if you can, a home, because it makes it easier to go overseas when you need to. You're not going to sit around like wondering what's going to happen. I also think you should look at a plan A of, what am I doing right now to legally reduce my taxes? What am I doing to reduce my risk, the regulations involved? I have US citizens. They say, hey, I don't mind living in the US. I don't even mind paying the tax. I can't invest in certain crypto projects. They don't want Americans, or they don't want people who only have a US passport or only have a US driver's license. What can I do to get around that? I'm losing millions of dollars sometimes. I've heard this for years. And so, it might not even be taxes. It might just be regulations. It might be restrictions. I think by not putting this offshore stuff in place, you could, over the long term, if you believe in crypto in the long run, cost yourself millions of dollars in opportunities, cost yourself millions of dollars in taxes. So if you believe crypto is going higher, the best time to leave your country is when the chips are down. And so if you think this is the lowest things get, then that would be the time to do it. Get your affairs together, get your passport, get your residence, figure out where you're going to go, get that going. Get your insurance plan in place. And realize this stuff is important, not because I said it is, but because we've been talking about this stuff, and here we see more stuff coming out against crypto investors all the time. Get ready, go where you're treated best. Now is a great time to do it if you're in crypto, because you have the resources. Get it done. Don't stop now. We've got well over 1,000 more videos here on YouTube for you to watch and learn how to go where you're treated best. And if you want to work with Nomad Capitalist personally, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, learn about our unique, tried and true process, garnered over years of experience, and learn how you can become our client.